attorney. And after almost 2 years of trying to get out my side of the story and being censored by YouTube, Facebook, and what's the other one? X, Twitter, whatever it is, and now TikTok. The TikTok one I find very fascinating. You've got over a million listeners, 300,000 signature petitions to have me arrested, which is what the government needed in order to be able to get away with malicious prosecution of someone who didn't do a crime, but is definitely an adversary against all the corruption that goes on in Maricopa County and the state of Arizona, and even up to Washington, D.C. Because I didn't have any limits. I never used to fear my government till after the second time they threw me in a dungeon. And now I fear my government like most Americans do, more than I do God. But I just recently decided I'd check YouTube on my own phone. Here's all these stories all over again put up by my daughter, which are soap operas. This is tripe gossip based on a hateful superstition that all stepfathers always molest and murder their stepdaughters. That ABC and NBC has cashed out in on that one, and even Peacock with all this tripe gossip based on rumors, innuendos, and lies. Same 1692 Salem, Massachusetts trash that went on, where some three teenage little girls put on quite an entertaining show, convinced a village tribunal or judge, as they call it back then, to sentence people to die for witchery. And so that's where the term witch hunt comes from, by the way, created here in America before our Bill of Rights, which has now been, it's like a whisper in the wind, folks. Our politicians in Washington have been trying to get rid of it for years. They pretty much well succeeded now, where any citizen without probable cause or even any substantial evidence can be thrown in a dungeon, held there for as long as the government feels it wants to, till you get a chance to defend yourself, maybe in a trial. They can withhold all your evidence and keep it, they call it Brady violations. They're allowed to destroy evidence, like the Phoenix PD did, that would have shown without a doubt they planted the plastic pipe bombs. All this is on court record, but I don't see that on ABC and NBC. And Fox News ain't going to touch this. We've been enemies since the tobacco industry debacle back in the mid 90s, whenever they were involved in helping cover up to prevent any of the executives who were contributed to over 20 million deaths in America and $1 trillion worth of medical care were ever held criminally accountable. So we get both factions, and that's all they are. Both political parties factions. This is probably the most vicious one I've ever seen between these two factions. But it all affects us. Campaigns for drugs and wars on terrorism and crime. All it does is put a lot of Americans in jail, and you're going to have a larger and larger percentage of political people like I was. I was just either God's grace, luck, karma, whatever you want to do with the fact that I didn't do these crimes, that I got a good judge named Sam Myers, Superior Court, was showing that the system is not broken, but it is political, extremely political, and where we really wiped out the Bill of Rights. Everything is based on socioeconomic status, who you know, who you want to bribe. So a great nation like it, but I turn it on, here's all this stuff, and I've been censored. Even now, 5 years of nothing but this TikTok, constant stuff, and my daughter's building an empire, millions of listeners, and all this other kind of stuff because of soap opera themed stuff. And yet, when I finally put out a video on TikTok, lowered my standards because I didn't want to support that kind of a communist outlet. I don't think we should have that in this nation because it just sets up, should they invade, now they have a news media outlet to be able to use to broadcast their information to get Americans to give up, which what I've seen of the sheep people in America, that's probably pretty easy to do. They're going to buy all this trash and letting ABC and NBC and Fox and them tell them what and how to think. That's scary. That's a good way to lose, a great nation. But regardless, I finally put one on TikTok. Been on there for about 2 weeks now, pretty close to that. Not one single person, not one, has made a comment about what I had to tell them what this really is about. Because Alyssa Marie Turney's in the center of it, and that's a tragedy within itself. Because I live in an anti-civil, anti-constitutional state like Arizona, who was proud that they had the highest kick out and arrest rate and of in learning impaired children in middle school back when Alyssa was going to school, and that they just wanted to add her to the list, and I refused to let them do that, and it made a lot of enemies. But not one comment. Wow, what's that about? Is that about the same censoring? Because I put a lot of these videos trying to put out the facts. They don't seem to get much airtime. But I just turned on YouTube and boom, there's all this stuff coming in about Alyssa and about the stepfather, and he's an evil person. If you really think that John Quinos or whatever you play his name is credible, folks, you're really foolish. He's not. He's an entertainer too. Or what's her name, Cannon, whatever it is from NBC. These people are clowns. I mean, they're so egotistical. They're worried about their self-images than they are about the facts. But they don't want to talk to you about government conspiracies to get together or weaponization of the Department of Justice, because that's what they did to me, exactly. And I'm nobody. But I am a troublemaker. I have won federal whistleblower cases, and I've turned in a lot of bad, corrupt government. And the biggest ones that come back to haunt me is your untouchables. You do not rat out on unions buying, especially the AFL-CIO, buying federal government jobs or stealing retirement funds. You don't do that. That's an absolute no-no. It's as bad as trying to do something about the Arizona border. Of course, now we have a large southern attack, on our southern borders, all the way to presidential, military, and all stuff like that. But they're just going to go out to the oceans, folks. Humans, selling other humans has been around a long, long, long time. And it's going to continue because there's a market for it. Now, if we really want to do something serious and go down and bomb the hell out of these manufacturers of all these drugs that are killing Americans, that's what you want to do. You really want to do that because they invaded our sovereignty. We have a right as a nation to survive to do that because it's killing a hell of a bunch of us, costing us a fortune. It is a threat to the United States. But that's a different subject. The subject of this has to do with all the censoring by YouTube, now TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, how does anybody get a chance? Even when I went on ABC and NBC, they edited that so bad, folks, that me trying to tell you what I had to try and put on a video that, again, has been censored. This is going to be censored. This is just from my own records to see that I did, at least for my own peace of mind, complain about being censored. And whether that has to do with most of the producers of all these TikToks and YouTube and all this stuff happen to be females who decide what's going to put on the air, and they have some kind of a horrible thing that happened to them sexually by some relative, their father, their stepfather, their uncle, their dog. It doesn't make any difference because they carry this hate over to, we're going to push the soap opera, but we're not going to hear the facts from the person that was punished for it. My case was never about justice. It was never about evidence. It was about punishment. Taking the political power of the Department of Justice, whether it be state or federal, we're going to punish this guy no matter what. If he doesn't get convicted, we don't care. And if he even is wrongfully denied his constitutional rights to evidence, Brady violations, the government destroying key videos that would show that he didn't have those plastic pipe bombs, the City of Phoenix Police Department planted those plastic pipe bombs. It's okay to destroy the machine and the recording he was making of that day because we're not concerned about the Constitution. We're concerned about getting this guy because he's literally made everyone angry at one time or another because he just can't seem to shut up. Project 100,000, corruption on the border, the building of the Palo Verde, the school system here sucking, human trafficking and sex slave trade, all these people in the criminal factions that control the state of Arizona. Can't talk about that because we're no longer a democratic republic, representative government. We're not have equal rights because our rights are based on socioeconomic status. The same with putting out this story. So this is really about this. I'm just really sitting back and thinking, I thought for sure if we get something go viral, here's the guy finally going to put his side of the story out on TikTok. Not one single response. Wow. Could that be because of the producers? Or is it like the one guy said, he has the power to restrict people from even responding to any of my videos? Is that what it's about? I mean, I don't know. What I do know about censorship, though, is I've seen that most of my life. And that's how people continue to have power when they shouldn't have it to begin with. But we are a spoon fed bunch of flock of sheep. And until we decide to get off of our dead duffs, or whatever you want to call it, and decide to start going back to a American tradition of challenging bad government, it's never going to change. It's going to all be the same. It's going to continue on and on and on until it finally crashes. All societies eventually come to an end. I just wanted this one to last a lot longer. And even my little message, grassroots, let's just vote them all out in Washington, D.C. If you see incumbent, vote for the other guy. It's just that simple. And do it for the next 30 years. And they say that's irresponsible. No, it's not. Until we can break campaign finance money, until we can break term limits, we don't stand a chance of equality in this country. I don't care who you want to listen to this, all this kind of stuff in here. Call us up. We're going to go ahead and get the news media on these people in there. I've been screwed over so many times since I got out of prison. Fox or 15's the one that said, ABC 15, you call us and we're going to help you investigate. Not once. I can't even get my campaign finance hat from 2017 to Donald Trump back. Somehow that involves a homicide. 15's not going to help me. None of these people, ABC, all these little local things, everyone, Mr. Attorney, you go ahead, you call these things, it's all ignored. My own congressman ignores me. And I've used congressmen most of my life. Two of the greater ones were John Shattuck and Bob Stump. And these people, without them, I wouldn't even have gotten as far as I did. I'd have probably gone to prison a lot sooner. But right after John Shattuck got me finally my 201 for the military files, within 2 weeks I was in federal prison. Whether it had anything to do with that or not, we'll never know because your government lies to you and they're not going to give you the facts. We're going to release all this stuff on John F. Kennedy, all these other things. Folks, we got a hidden government. And if we don't get rid of those trash bums, scumbags, whatever you want to call them in D.C., we're making a serious mistake. They build a dynasty, and a dynasty, we're the enemy of these people sitting with that power. Okay, until we get rid of campaign finance money, we get rid of this term limit. If we don't get the term limits involved in this stuff, because there's a lot of great Americans, folks. There's a vast ocean of us people, because we came from all over the world. We came here. But we can't get anywhere from A to B if the incumbents are never going to allow anybody to get in there with a new idea. Now, Donald J. Trump might be a start to begin with because he's definitely an outsider. So was Jimmy Carter. And the parties destroyed him. Even his own party went after Jimmy Carter when he wanted to start cutting certain areas that, quote unquote, Democrats can't do that. Republicans can't do that. These people don't give a damn about you. They never have and never will. It's all about the money. The power. So I'm off of my little breach and ranting and raving again, but I just, I turn on YouTube just to see what's the latest stuff, and here we are again. We're all talking about, look at this mysterious that destroyed the whole system crash in Arizona whenever we found about Alyssa Marie Turney suddenly vanishes. And teenagers don't do that, really. How about all the factions that I made mad and angered when I was a deputy sheriff? No investigation of that. Aryan Brothers, unions, none of that stuff was really investigated, folks. It's all covered up because the task force was Phoenix PD with the help of the FBI and one of the best detectives, homicide detectives in the country, hired by the National Center for Exploited Children to frame me for things I didn't do. And then with Susan R. Bolton, which again demonstrates how political our federal district judges are, unless you really are stupid enough to believe that out of 24 or 25 federal district judges, only one can suddenly get all of my cases randomly and put in front of her, including a criminal case where she denies evidence so I can go to trial. She ignores the fact that the Phoenix PD destroyed a recording that would have shown they planted the plastic pipe bombs. Wow. And then you're told if you don't take the plea agreement that we're going to turn around and arrest the rest of your family because they're also in there. And if you don't accept responsibility, then they can be arrested. And that's not coercion. That's just the way we do things in our judicial system. Good luck to you. But I just, I have to make comments about this because it just frustrates me. I'm going to be dead for too long and the rest of you people are going to sit back and you're going to wonder. You let cases like mine slip through? there's going to be more and more and more and more and more. And it's going to continue till one day, all of a sudden, you wake up and you're thinking, well, I'm a good American. I didn't do this. I'm a good American. It doesn't make any difference. You made somebody mad with power, and suddenly they want to make an example out of you because they have the power of corrupt government, and you don't have a say in it. Vote them all out. Vote for anybody that's not an incumbent, and sooner or later you'll get a bunch of good people who want to serve this country, not themselves.